Hello, Fiona Whitten from Oakfield Crafts here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator living in Wokingham in Berkshire, which is in the UK. And today I'm going to show you how to make a Fun Fold Criss Cross card. Some of you may have seen these on the internet. I thought I would pop on and show you how to make one. I did make one quite a few years ago, but it's always good to try things again, especially when you've got new paper and new stamps and things to play with. So, without further ado, I will show you. So I've actually made two just to show you what I mean by a crisscross card. And it's very simple. It's just that the front folds one side over the other. So it's kind of like a gatefold, but it's fun in that you've actually cut diagonals in it. And then once you have your basic card, it's really up to you as to how you want to decorate it. So it's a very versatile design. So this one I've made using your standard C6 cards. So it takes two of them. So that's the standard size. So it makes a portrait card. This one, I sort of stepped it up a little bit in that I've used some dies and things. So this one, the centerpiece, what's left of the piece, one of the triangles, I cut down to make that oblong. So I've kind of used all the bits that we have that I suggested to you to have to hand to make the card. And then this one, I've made it as a landscape card. So again, it's a crisscross, so that one side folds over the other. I've used the Flowers of Friendship stamp set to decorate the card, and the sentiment also comes from there, as does this one, and I'll show you what I did with that one in a second. So again, so this one you would actually cut your card stock as A4 in lengthways. So that's the design I'm going to make this morning. So without further ado, I just need to grab some card stock. So I'm going to start, and I'm using the new in colours. So I'm going to start with a piece of polished pink cardstock. That's that. And then I need my trimmer. So normally you would cut, so this is A4, normally you would cut it in half this way and then score. But to make the landscape cards, I always prefer to have my folds on the side edge for a portrait card. So that's all we're going to do. Simply you're going to cut it in half right the way along the length, and remember this, the dark colour is the cutting blade and the lighter colour grey is the scoring blade. So once you've cut it, you are simply going to do one piece at a time. You're going to turn it so that the long edge is at the top. You're going to line it up with 14.9 because that's half of that length. And then making sure that your trimming blade is out the way, you are simply going to score it. And you're going to do that with both pieces. So there's one piece, and then the second piece, like so. So the basic card is in effect these two pieces glued together. But before we do it, so if I just show you quickly, so you would glue them together like this. Just put the backs together, and then you've got one side folding over the other. But before we do that, you want to cut your diagonals. So this is the card that I'm going to use on the right. So I need to open it up, And because I want my score, my line to go that way, I won't need to score from the fold down to the bottom, cut from the top down to the bottom. So I'm going to just line this point up in my trimmer and that point up, so it's in the middle. So this is the line that the blade will go. Now, don't take it up from the bottom to hit the blade first, because you'll only end up to hit the point first, you'll only end up with a scrunched up point. So I would suggest when you're doing this that you actually cut down from where the score line is, and that way you won't end up with a scrunched point. So that's 1/2, and then so that looks like that. And then this piece is going to be the piece on the left. So this time we want again to go from the score line in the middle, but this time down to the bottom right tip. So again, I'm going to line up that score line in the centre of the groove, and then point in the centre of the groove. Sometimes it moves, and I put my trimming blade at the top and then cut down. And you would do exactly the same if you wanted to make a portrait style card. So when it gets glued together, it'll go like this. And it's up to you whether you want to have the left over right or the right over left. So this one, I've got the right side going over the left. So it's whatever your personal preference is. But I think this time I might actually make a difference. I'm going to go left over right. Okay. So then the other thing you need to do is you want to cut a piece of your double-sided paper. Now again, I'm using the in colour. So this is the double-sided paper for the new in colour double-sided paper. So I've got, what have I got? I've already got the polished pink. Now, do I want polished pink or soft succulent fresh freesia, pale papaya, or evening evergreen? Now, I could do tone on tone, but I don't think I will. I've already used the pale papaya for my first card, so I think I'm going to use the fresh freesia. And I need 2 pieces. And then you need to decide, do you want to have it so that your card only has a very small border, or do you want a wider border? Because that will dictate your cutting. I'm going to go for a very small border, so I know I need to cut this at 10. What's on the other side of this? We've got squares on that side and we've got lines on that side. So if I cut it that way, I'm just trying to work out which way the lines will go. So I want to go 10 by 14.4. Now, because I want this design to be on the top, like so, that tells me that I need to cut this in half that way. So basically, whichever way you cut, whatever is under your line is the piece that will show on the front. So I'm going to, again, I'm going to put this so that the points are in the middle of the track. Now this time, again, don't want to scrunch up my points, so I'm going to start the cutting in the middle and then just move it up and down. So this piece will glue onto here. Now this piece obviously is not going to work there, so you're just literally going to turn it over unless you want to cut another piece. So I'm going to glue those pieces on first, and then I'm going to glue the card together. I would suggest that you use wet glue, simply because it gives you the wiggle room. There's nothing worse than using, well, there's nothing wrong with using the tape. If you use seal or whatever tape it is that you like to use, it's just that once you've put the tape on and you've put this on the cardstock, you're kind of stuck. Whereas if you use the wet glue, you have time to move things around. So if you open up your card and do it that way, because then you can actually see where your border is. So that's that one. I've got glue all over my fingers. That's nothing new. So this one. I forgot to mark on my grid paper this morning the parameters of the camera, so apologies if I kind of go out of shot. Hopefully you've caught this and you can see it. Right. So there's a bit of a raised edge there because of the way that the paper was cut. So I just use my thumbnail to simply fold it down. Okay, so this is how your card will go together. And the reason I've put all the paper on now is that I wanted to make sure that when I come to glue the two halves together, that it does actually fold and no points get sort of stuck or anything like that. So I'm gonna glue this together now. So I'm going to put some glue on here. And again, I would suggest glue rather than tape. You want to stay within that score line, because if you fold it, go over and fold it, then you will have problems getting your card to fold. And then just make sure it's all square. Like that. And voila, see, look, I've got a bit too much glue on there. Let's put that, get my glue eraser. I wish we still stocked these because they are a godsend. Not much good for your fingers, but then again, the glue you can just rub off your fingers or wash your hands if you've got the time. So there we are. So that is a basic crisscross card. So what's left now is to decorate it. Now I'm going to put some paper inside and then I'm going to decorate it. So I'm going to cut a piece of paper to go inside this, and again that is going to be 10 by 14.4. So 10 by 14.4. I've got all sorts of scrappy bits now. Put them to to one side. So I'm going to glue them, just get rid of that bit of glue there as well, so I don't end up sticking to it. And again, I'm going to use glue. So what do you guys think of the new catalogue? I have to say, I love it. And I'm doing my catalogue launch on Saturday. So if you're around and you want to join in, pop over to my Oakfield Crafts Facebook page and then ask to join the catalogue launch group. And that will give you access to everything that's going on Saturday, including my buy one get one free sale. So I'm just going to remove all this excess glue now whilst I remember, so that I don't end up picking it up and sticking to it. Right, so I've got all my designer series paper on now. And then the question is, how do I decorate it? Now I do need to put a piece of basic white in here to when you either put a sentiment on it or just leave it so that you can actually write on there yourself. So what I am going to do is I need a piece of basic white. And I'll trim it again. And I'm just going to put a piece in that is 1/2 centimetre smaller than the one that I've already put in. I'm just going to cut this in half first, simply because I then know that I've got at least 2 full panels of white, should I need it. So I need to cut it. So the other one was 10 by 14.4. So this time I'm going to cut it at 9.5 by 13.9. So that's 1/2 centimetre smaller along the length and along. Right, okay, so then I know then that that will fit perfectly. Now there's various things you can do with this now. So if I go back to this one that I've already done, I simply used the scrap cardstock that I had, and I cut out a scallop circle from the layering circles dies, and then I cut out a smaller piece of basic white from this using the same dies, stamped on it. Now when you fix this together, obviously you can fix the whole of this basic white circle to the scallop, but when you come to add the scallop to the card front, you want to make sure that you don't put any glue on this portion, because otherwise when you close it, it'll stick to the other panels, which is not such a good idea, because then you won't be able to open it. So you can use whatever shape that you like here, so ovals, squares, circles, whatever you have. Obviously, if you like the layering circles and you don't have them, then you can find them in my online shop. So I could stamp the image again, but I'm actually going to do something different, and I'm going to use the punch. So the Flowers of Friendship stamp set is one of the new ones. And it comes as a bundle. You can buy it individually, or you can buy it as a bundle with the actual punches. So it punches, there's one punch and it punches out 4 different images. So you have this particular one here is this larger portion of the punch. This one here is this small one, and then these 2. So that's the large leaf, I should say, and that's the small leaf. Now, because it punches out all 4 bits at the same time, what I would suggest you do is, because and you also don't necessarily want all 4 pieces either, then I would suggest that what you do is you then use strips of cardstock. So I'm going to use some, I was going to say some strips of the pink, but I'm actually going to cheat because I have that triangle left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my stamp. Now if I turn this over, I can see that this piece is at the bottom. So I am literally going to use this piece and just, let's see, measure this. How much do I need? About 3.5. So if I line that up with 3.5, that side there, cut that, then I've got that piece I can use as well. The other thing that you need to do is pay attention to which, if you want to save your cardstock, it doesn't matter which way you put your stamp on the block. There's no right and wrong way for this. So, but when it comes to stamping, because the image that you're going to be punching out is that cross, you want to make sure that you're actually stamping that image as a cross and not as a that way, if you see what I mean. So if you stamp that way along rather than that way, then you're not going to have any problems when it comes to actually punching things out. So I'm just going to ink up. So I'm going to do a tone on tone. So that's my first one. Very cute. And that's my second one. You want to leave a little bit of space between them, simply because just to make sure that you're not cutting out the next image. So if you, with your punch upside down, it's easy enough to line up. She says, I just need to tip it up slightly so I can see. And then punch. Oh, that's the other issue, is that bits will fly. And you see what I mean by saying that it'll punch out other bits as well, so you need to leave a bit of space. Hopefully we've got enough space here. It's not going to show. Oops. I'm not very good with this morning, don't know why. There we go. Oh, and another flying flower. It's got in my ink pad as well. Right. So I'm going to use that to decorate the inside. And I'm just going to glue this together so that it makes a flower. Like so. So that's going to go on the inside of my card. When I can find the glue. Now, because it's going on the inside, I'm not too bothered about shaping the leaves or anything, simply because it's the inside of the card and it's going to get flattened. So and similarly, I am not too bothered about putting a rhinestone on it. Simply because you don't really want the rhinestone to be cutting through the cardstock in front. So let's see. But what you could do is you could, and I just need to find it, take a marker in the same colour or a Stampin' blend. So this is the polished pink marker. And I'm just going to colour the centre, like so. And you could do all sorts of things. I mean, you could stamp this onto white cardstock and colour bits. Using the coloured cardstock is just a quick and easy way of doing this. So I'm going to glue that inside. Like so. You could do exactly the same thing and put a flower on here. But we're kind of running out of time. I don't want to go too far over. So that's the inside. Now I'm a dilemma is which one am I going to use. So you know what, I'm going to leave it as that. So I'm going to again use this image, this big flower image, and I'm going to stamp onto some basic white cardstock, and I'm going to use Memento because I want to use my Stampin' blends. Now, where did I put that piece of spare piece of cardstock? Oh, there it is. Memento. Where is it? There it is. I'm sorry if I'm shaking everything. I just realised because this is red rubber, you don't need to put anything underneath the where you're stamping. And I'm going to cut this out with a circle. So there's my image. And then I also need some more flowers, but this time I need the bigger one from this, so that one. So this one I don't need to worry too much about. But I will need some more of this polished pink. So grab my large flower. Again, this time you need to pay attention to which way it goes. So I want to be stamping, because I'm putting the paper in from the top, I want to be stamping so that it is like that. So we have one. And again, you could stamp using the Memento like I've just done, because I just picked it up without realising. Or you could do the tone on tone effect like I did on the inside of the card. I don't know if this is going to jump out at me. So again, if you're with the punch upside down, you can line up and punch out. Yes, it is, but that's all right. So by just taking that moment just to make sure that you're putting the flower and stamping the flower the right way round, saves you having to cut up your cardstock. And I know we've all done it, where we always sit there and we end up cutting off corners and trimming edges and all that sort of stuff, just to make sure that we've got enough, or taken off enough, I should say, so that we can actually get to the image. Now these flowers actually will stick on here quite happily, like so. Or the other thing that you could do, which is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to put the lid on that, so I don't end up putting my hand in it, is you take your paper snips and you cut right into the middle on each of the petals. That's one. Just trim a bit of that off, like this. And the reason I'm doing this is you can then, oops, it's got a bit of a piece that I don't need. You can then put your flowers, those petals, on here, like so. And then once they're glued on, you have a complete flower, like that. So I'm just going to glue those on. Actually, that one's not very good. I'll glue that one on, just so that you can see. So if you do the two outer ones first, I mean, you could even put foam pads underneath if you wanted to. Or if you didn't want to, maybe you could just do a foam pad under the one in the middle, like that. Making sure I've got all the bits here. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to glue it, I think. And you don't have to do it on all the flowers. Don't have to do it on the flowers at all. You could just simply colour. It's entirely up to you. Just wanted to show you just what you can do with the stamp set and the actual. Now, I don't know whether these will. These might fit on the other one, but I don't know. Let's see. Yep, they would. So let's do this one as well. So what was I saying? Oh yes, I was talking about the catalogue launch on Saturday. Yes, so yeah, pop onto my Oakville Crofts Facebook page, and from there, or just look for Oakville Crofts 2021 catalogue launch, because we have a separate Facebook group, and then there will be my big buy one get one free sale on Saturday too, and those on the Facebook group, or if you subscribe to my newsletter, you will get early access. It will be available to everybody just later in the day if you don't. It's just one of the perks of receiving the newsletter or being on the group. Okay, and then I'm going to put that one on top. And that one, I think I will actually put some foam pads. Actually, no, I won't put some foam pads on, simply because I just remembered that I need to cut this out. And that would be a bit of a disaster if I put foam pads on and I try and cut it out. Let's move that out the way for a minute. And I'm going to bring in, what am I going to use to cut this out? Am I going to use a small, maybe I'll use a smallish rectangle. So I'm going to do that to go on the front. And I'm going to bring in my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This is really cute, and it's so light. Not all the dies or embossing folders will fit through here. You do need to be careful, but it comes with everything that you need. So you always need a #1 plate, and it'll actually tell you what you need, what plates you need to do anything. So I'm using a die, so I need that, and I need 2 lots of #2. You can see I've used this quite a bit already. And yeah, bow ties. That's what I can see on there. But anyway, I digress. So you want to put that on. Now, this is not going to fit through. So I am going to have to cut this. So that I know will now fit through my die. I'm going to have to stand up and do this. And place it so that it's where I want it to be. And I've got sticky fingers, which means everything is sticking to it, of course. And then number 2 plate goes on top. Start winding it through, and yes, there is sometimes a bit of cracking noises. There we go. So that's it cut out. Where is the card that I just made? There we go. So we can fit that on here like that, but before I do that, I'm actually let's see, I'm going to finish this off. I'm thinking about that one, and I think actually that large one, by cutting the inside, the smaller one I should say, will fit on here. So that's the so those 2 are the larger flower, and then this one is going to be the smaller flower. Now I'll punch again, double check which way I want it to go. So it needs to go that way. Punch that out. If you ever get to a position where you want to punch something but you haven't got enough card sticking out the side, then if you use a post-it note or something like that, something that's sticky one end, then that will sort of act as a handle for you. Just a little tip. So I need 3. There's 1. That one, I think. So let's see. So yep, so those will fit on nicely to create that other flower. Like so. So that works. Cool. And I could then just stamp and punch out the leaves, but I'm not going to. Oops, sorry, it's a hair. Seemed to be molting. Maybe it's that time of the year. I'm getting my summer coat. Although finally managed to get a haircut the other day, so that was a huge relief. And then the third one I am going to use a dimensional now because I've cut it out already, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to use a mini, one of these mini ones. So this is a light, soft, succulent Stampin' blend. I'm just going to colour in the leaf. I don't think I'm even going to use the darker colour on it. Just leave it as a light. It's a pretty colour. We'll go over it again though. Don't be worried that when you cut these out, if bits are sort of going off the edge, that's fine. Don't worry about it at all. It just adds some interest. These alcohol markers are very juicy. So you don't really need to go right to the edge because it will simply spread like that. So I'm going to put that on here. And as I said, you need to remember that you don't want, you know what, I might end up doing it that way. You don't want to be putting anything behind this portion, otherwise it will stick. Now I need my larger dimensionals, otherwise we'll be sitting here all day doing this. As much as I love you guys, I'm sure you have other things to do. What else do I need to tell you? Let's go there. So it needs to go below that. I tried to eyeball it yesterday and I ended up making a bit of a boo-boo of it. So I just, this time I thought, oops, backing decided to stay on. Here we go. So obviously, as I said, I'm not putting stuff on there because I don't want it to stick to the inside of the card. Like that. So I think I need to put some rhinestones on. I should have put a bit of ribbon around it. Don't know if it's too late. Can I get any underneath there? I might be able to. Oops, wrong colour. So this is the new Fresh Freesia. Let's see if I poke it through, will it go? Probably not, no, my luck. So let's fix that. Use a pair of snips. So if you find that you've put something down already with dimensionals and you wanted to add something else, if you use your paper snips to cut through, and then you can, I need a bit more than that. Then you can put the dimensionals back on again just by sneaking a couple underneath. Tight bow. Don't know how successful this is going to be. Why is it I can do this off camera, but when I have to do it on camera, I just make a complete mess of it? It needs to go that way. Go. Could probably be tighter and maybe not so big. So if you need to tighten or make your bows smaller, if you always hold the knot, I find it's less likely to become so loose that it's going to unravel. lines like that. It's probably slightly uneven, but okay. And then put a, I'm going to use a little dimensional this time because I've already got some underneath there to give it the height. I just need to put one under there just to secure it, like that. And then I will probably put a glue dot behind that just to make sure, and it holds the bow flat on the front there, because there's nothing worse than having a bow that's just going to go walkabouts. Okay, so there you go. That's my slightly stepped up card. So we've shown you how you can use the punch to create flowers, and also how to use the punch to create the petals for the card on the front. And I just realised that one's missing something. It's missing one of these, so I need to glue that on as well, but I don't know where it's gone. And but anyway, so I will finish that off, put some photographs up on the Facebook page along with all the cutting instructions. So I hope you give it a go. If you want to purchase the Flowers of Friendship stamp set or bundle, then please get in touch, or you can shop online at oakvillcrafts.stampinup.net. All right, and that's it for tonight. Oh, crumbs, I'm wishing the day away. For today, and I'll see you Saturday at the catalogue launch, or next Wednesday for the next card and a cuppa. Bye.